If you're looking for a tutorial on how to build a modern, clean, and high converting homepage for your WordPress website, or if you simply want to take your Thrive Architect skills to the next level, you've come to the right place. We're about to design Evernote's homepage from top to bottom using Thrive Architect. And without further ado, let's just jump right into it. If you want to follow along this tutorial, of course, you're going to want to grab a license for Thrive Architect. It's my favorite page builder to design websites on WordPress because, amongst many other things, it lets us design and build great pages like the one that we're about to build. So check the description box if you want to grab a license for Thrive Architect at the best possible price. Yeah, let's just get this party started. Perfect. So I've got Evernote.com opened up here. And before we jump into WordPress, I kind of just want to break down the page as we usually do when we work on some of these copycatting videos, trying to replicate designs that big companies out there are using. So before we start, do note that I've already designed the header and the footer of the website itself with Thrive Theme Builder. We're not going to cover that on this video because, well, the homepage by itself is pretty long. So I want to concentrate exclusively on using Thrive Architect. But if you want a tutorial on how to design this using Thrive Theme Builder, this header that sticks and the footer itself, although the footer is pretty simple. Check our Facebook group because we're constantly sharing resources there as well. And you can ask for little videos here and there, and I'll be more than happy to record them for you. So yeah, all right. With that said, the page itself, as you can see, it's pretty clean, right? I mean, it has an H1 heading here, tame your work, organize your life, strong keywords there that I think are appropriate for what Evernote is trying to do as a product. And then, of course, they've got a subheading. And what's most important, in my opinion, a big, strong call to action here to let people start for free, okay? So it's a very strong hero section, in my opinion. It also kind of really teases that Evernote is available on both desktop and mobile. These mockups are, they're probably not the best mockups I've seen out there, but they do the job, right? So more benefits and features section here, like, you can use Evernote from anywhere, remember everything, turn to do into done, find things fast, it gets the job done. And, some really slick, fancy graphics done here as background images for some of these sections, which is pretty cool. Your information, your way. Again, some more 2-column layouts going on here. Evernote in action, and then a last bottom section here, again, with a strong call to action to let people start for free. All right, so let's jump inside WordPress, and here, let's create a new page. We're going to call this one Evernote. All right. So I'm going to save this as a draft, and we're going to fire up the page with Thrive Architect. So in this case, since I already have worked on the header and footer for my website using Thrive Theme Builder, I am going to start from a blank page that contains my website's header and footer. And I simply need to look for the appropriate header and footer because I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be loaded by default, correct? So here, let's just change the header and look for the one that's called Evernote. I think that's the name I gave it. Yeah, Evernote. And we're going to do the same thing for our footer. I'm going to change the footer and use the one that says Evernote. Perfect. Great. And as you can see, it looks pretty much like what Evernote has going on, right? Kind of really similar, if you ask me. Great. And let's just start working. So first things first, as usual, we're going to follow our hierarchy for designing things with Thrive Architect. We're going to be dropping in our background sections, then we're going to drop in our content boxes, and then we can start inserting each individual element, text elements, images, buttons, and so forth and so on. So first things first. The first thing that we want to do is color the color for this background section. And the color, if you want to grab the hex code, it is hashtag F8, F6, F2. Great. I've already got that color saved here inside my favorite colors. So I just need to select the background style for the background section that I've just inserted and change the background color. Excellent. We're going to center things to the middle, vertically speaking. And now we just need to start dropping in our content box. Again, we're going to position things vertically speaking to the middle, and we're going to drop in a text element. So Evernote is using a custom font for their H1 headings. Their body font is Enter. Surprise, surprise, Enter. But I can't use their specific H1 heading font because it's custom. I mean, they've customized it for their own, for themselves. So I'm thinking that we can use this one called Antique Didon. It looks kind of, I mean, it's not the same, but it looks kind of fancy and elegant. So let's try to look for that font. It should be a Google font. So let's do Antique Didon. Great. And we're gonna make this. Actually, this should have been an H1. Let's make this Antique Didon. We don't need this to be italicized. We want this to be black. And here we're just going to copy the text. Tame your work, organize your life. It's kind of not the same, let's face it. Oh, hold on. Let's get rid of these all caps. Yeah, I'm not thrilled with the font. I have to be honest with you. Okay, that's better. That's better. We bolded a little bit. It's much better. It looks a little bit more like the one that Evernote is using. I think we just want to make it a little bit bigger. That's great. And now we need the subheading. This one is going to be Enter. Let's do Enter. Let's paste it in there. And we want to make sure it's black. And let's just make it 22 here. Great. And we need a button, green button. Perfect. We're going to do start for free. Here, once more, let's make this Enter. And letter spacing, let's set that to 0 pixels. And yeah, we definitely want to make the button a little wider. And of course, it has to be green. So let's actually grab that green, which is 4BA541. 4BA541. And we're going to make this a little wider. Start for free. And it does have a little bit of a black border around it. It has this really nice animation going for it. All right. So let's make this a black border. And then on hover, we want to animate this. Let's see what we can do here. Let's do buzz out, maybe? Maybe not buzz. Wobble. Hang. Hang is not a bad one. I kind of like grow, to be honest. It's the simplest one, but it's also like kind of subtle. It matches the clean modern design that we've got going on, since I can't really replicate the one that they're using. Although, to be honest, it's just a question. I think they're simply inserting a little bit of a drop shadow, aren't they? So maybe perhaps we want to insert a little bit of a drop shadow. Let's make it dark with no opacity. And let's make it, let's tilt it a little bit more. Let's get rid of the blurriness. And let's see what that looks like. I'm kind of really interested to see what that's going to look like. Let's hit preview. Hey, that's pretty close, isn't it? Hey, that's pretty nice. Cool. All right, and then we need one more text element. We're going to make it this one a little bit smaller. Instead of 22, let's make this one 16. And we're going to do already a customer, log in. And let's underline that so that it's pretty obvious that that's the link. And I think now we're only missing an image, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. All right. So we're going to use an image, drop it underneath, and it's this one. Great. Cool stuff. I'm liking this. All right, let's keep going. Actually, before we keep on going, let's just make sure that we're not going to bump into any strange errors here. Okay, so the header needs some work. I didn't optimize the header for mobile. Let's make this H1 heading for mobile a little bit smaller tame your work, organize your life. We're going to do the same thing for this. Let's make this 18, maybe even 16. Let's make this a little wider, and that should be good enough. All right, perfect. Let's keep going. So now we've got this features or this benefits and features section. It's essentially, I'm probably not even going to need a new background section for this section. We can probably just stick in a new content box underneath the image. And by the way, you know, the way I determine whether I want to insert a new background section or not is, well, I take a look at a few different things. First, is the color of the background section itself changing? If it doesn't change, then I probably don't need to insert a new background section just to work on additional content that's underneath a different section on its own. The second thing that I take a look at is there a lot of spacing between the elements that I'm trying to break apart? For example, is there a lot of breathing room in between these two, the image above and the new section that I'm going to be working on? In this case, I don't think there's a whole lot of room in between those two things. But here, for example, there's a humongous gap in between the section that I'm about to work on and the one that comes after that. So I'll probably insert a new background section there. Although to be safe, to be perfectly honest with you, you can never go wrong with using more background sections, okay? There's absolutely no reason why you should be afraid of overusing background sections at all, okay? I mean, there's no harm in creating new sections for every section that you're gonna be working on, okay? So in this case, I'm just gonna drop in a content box, gonna do a 4-column layout, and inside these 4 columns, we need an image, a heading, and some text. So in order to not have to create each individual column by itself over and over again, I'm going to make sure I drop in a content box, which I'm going to be able to duplicate in a second. And now I can just drop in an image. And the first image that I want is the little location icon here. Let's make this like 64. And title, we're probably going to just duplicate this so that I can bring it down. Okay. For SEO reasons, you're probably going to want to make sure that you're not overusing H1 tags, okay? This could probably be an H3. Let's make this, 28. This should be work anywhere. And we need one more text element here. Great. And we just copy the text here, paste it in there. I'm probably gonna make this one smaller. Great. And now since I used a content box, I can just come in here, hit duplicate, stick it in the next column, change the icon. You probably want to change the text as well on your end, but for the sake of saving a little bit of time, I'm just going to duplicate these things and change the images. Not going to worry too much about the text. And we're going to change that last icon. Okay. And the last thing that I want to do with these columns is make sure that I increase the gutter width a little bit, because so the gutter width is going to control how much space there's in between columns, okay? And right now I can probably tell it there's, I don't know, maybe like 20, 25 pixels in here, I would imagine. So let's just change the 15 pixels that columns and Thrive Architect come with by default for gutter width. And we're gonna make that, let's do 20 should be fine. Let's hit save. And I think we're ready to keep on working. So let's insert a new background section underneath this one and change the background color. Since I do want some more space in between these 4 columns and the section that we're about to work on, I'm going to increase the inner top padding. I'm going to use 60 pixels for now. And then if we feel like we need a little bit more, then we can just increase that to 80 or 100. Perfect. So now content box. And here we're going to do a quote. Evernote is a powerful tool. So we're going to do, is that making use of enter? No, it's making use of this strange font. So I'm going to duplicate this font. put it in here. Again, you want to be very careful about how you're controlling these H tags, okay? It's very important that you're not overusing H1 headings, H2 headings, and so forth and so on. So work anywhere. Let's copy and paste that in there. I think there's a max width set for this content box. So let's come in here, center things to the center, and give this a max width. I think I want to make this a little bit bigger. Let's make it like 34. Yeah, that's much better. And we're going to do one more text element here. Let's duplicate this. We're going to put it underneath that one, and we're going to do Forbes. I think I want that to be a little bit bolder, so let's change the boldness here to 700. Yeah, perfect. Great. And now I think there's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 columns, each having their own respective logos. There's a couple of different ways in which we could potentially do this. We could just insert a 6-column layout and stick in inside each individual column a logo, or we could use an image gallery maybe. Yeah, for the sake of keeping it a little bit more interesting, let's insert an image gallery here. And let's pick out all these different logos. 2, 2, 2. Okay, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that should be it. Let's insert that, and we want to make sure that we do thumbnail size. Let's make this large so that they're not being displayed as blurry. Images per row, let's increase this to 6. And we want to uncheck crop images to fit so that they all get properly displayed. And to be honest, that's already getting us a long way. I think we just need a little bit of margin. Let's apply a little bit of margin because I want to create some distance between the image gallery and this text element. And so since I want to push them away from each other, we're going to use margins for that. So let's do like 120 pixels of top margin. Perfect. And I think I'm happy with that. All right, new section. This is kind of like a break apart section, isn't it? It's an interesting one. Let's take a look at how can we build this out. By the way, it sort of functions as a blog post because what's new, 30 more exciting improvements in Evernote, and a read more call to action. So this should technically speaking be a blog post. All right, let's insert a new background section. We're going to make this a little taller for now, just so that we can work with, well, just to be able to work comfortably in this section. Center things vertically speaking, and insert a content box. Trying to think. So this, I can tell you because I've inspected the page, that Evernote is using this graphic as a background image for the section. So we're going to go inside background style, and we're going to add in an image to this background. And the image is this one. Great. We're going to do cover so that it actually covers the entire section. And we're probably just going to want to make the section even taller. That should be good enough. Perfect. And now we want to do text element, duplicate that and stick it inside the content box. We're going to do what's new. And you know what? So there's a couple of different ways. Look, here's my thought process. This, technically speaking, is an interesting section as well because all of the content inside this section is sitting in the left-hand column of the screen, right? So if we split the screen up into columns, we've got a bigger left-hand column and an empty right-hand column, right? There's nothing in here. There's no content, but all of the content is sitting in this left-hand column. So I don't know if there's a couple of different ways in which we could potentially tackle this. You could use 2 columns and simply make the right-hand column wider and just simply leave it empty. Or you could use a content box like we did and give it a maximum width and have all of the content sit here inside this content box that has, oh, I think I give it to the text element. Yeah, let's do. Give it to the content box. Let's make this 700 pixels wide. And now all of that content is going to sit inside these 700 pixels. It could be even less. We may have to shrink that down to 600, but for now, let's just leave it as it is. Let's left align this text element. All right, I'm gonna grab this text element and we're gonna bring it down, stick it below the text element, left align it. I'm gonna copy this text. Perfect, paste it in there. We're gonna need a lot of space in between these two things. Again, we want space in between elements. We want them to get pushed apart, and so that's where margins come into play. So we're gonna do perhaps like 80 pixels of bottom margin for this text element for now. We can always go back and tweak that. And we need some more text. I'm gonna duplicate this one. The reason why I'm duplicating things is because that way I don't have to style them again. So I can just paste that in there. Yeah, I can tell that this is probably too wide. Yeah, that's better. And we are going to want a call to action that says read more. So we're going to duplicate this one, stick it underneath that text element. We have to remember to adjust the margins. We don't need a bottom margin, but we do need a top margin here now. Maybe not 80, but maybe 40 pixels. And let's change this to read more. Great. Huh, not bad, is it? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm excited. I'm liking how this is turning out. Oh, this section actually needs some top and bottom borders. So let's go to borders and let's make this black. I think 1 pixel should be enough. And let's make this black as well. Yeah, I think that's gonna be enough. Alrighty. Okay, let's keep on going. So now we have a series of 4 different rows of 2-column layouts. So once again, background section, center things vertically speaking. We're gonna insert a little bit of top padding. And bottom padding, just to be able to create some breathing room. And then we're gonna customize the background color for this section. Great. Insert a content box. Now I think I want 1 content box for each row. So how's that gonna work? Well, pretty simple. We already have 1 content box, so let's insert our 2 columns. Great. And here we're gonna have a heading in the left-hand column. And this one is going to be a little bit bigger. So let's make this 48. Some text. I think there was a little bit of text. Yeah. And we need an image. Let's make this an image. And the image is going to be this one with the little dots. Yeah, it's like a bullet journal. Great. So I did notice that this left-hand column is much thinner. Well, much thinner. It's thinner than this right-hand column. This one's a little wider. And then there's some gutter width here that we need to take care of. Great. So first things first, let's make this column perhaps like 25%. Maybe a little too much. Let's make it 35%. And now let's make the columns have like 60 pixels of gutter width. How does that look? Oh, that might be too big for the image itself. Let's actually squash that out a little more. Yeah, that should be enough. More or less. I think I just want to make the image a little smaller. And perhaps center it. Yeah, that's much better. Let's actually grab the right copy, because without the right copy, it's going to be a little hard to see what these things look like. Great. And then this font, I would say, is a little bit bigger. And perhaps line height. Actually, probably not that big. Let's go back to 18. Your information. Right, information here is broken apart into a new line. Your information your way. Okay. I think, actually, let's go back to positioning that to the left. And you know what? I think I want to inspect this section just because I want to be able to see how wide this thing stretches out to. This is exactly 1024. So I want to make that content box that we're working on have a maximum width of 1024. Stretch it and center that to the center. Yeah, now let's make the image a little bigger again. Yeah, that's much better. Perfect. And I think I just want to make sure that the image itself doesn't have any top and bottom margins. That's much perfect. I think they're now perfectly aligned if I'm not mistaken. Let's go back to making this 100. Great. Hey, you're seeing me bump into some walls here and trying to maneuver my way to making sure that that we can get it to look exactly and precisely as what Evernote's page looks like. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so now in order to save some time, I'm going to duplicate this section. And all I'm going to do, gotta love Thrive Architect, is for these two columns, I'm going to do reverse column order. Boom. And now the image is on the left-hand side. And it's this. I don't really know what this is, to be honest. But let's grab that image. And we're going to change the copy. Oh, I like that they have a button here. Cool. 24/7 access. Oops. 24. Hey, what happened there? Let me duplicate that. 24/7 access. And we're going to grab a copy here. Great. And now we're going to grab the button from our hero section and duplicate it. I'm going to drag it all the way down to the section that we're working on right now and stick it in there. Make sure that it's aligned to the left, and let's make it a little wider. That's perfect. Great. Guess what? We get to duplicate this first content box again and drag it all the way down. Perfect. And now we're missing this section here, this image. Great. I think it's this one. And just in order to save a little bit of time here, guys, I'm going to duplicate this one. I'm not going to worry too much about the copy anymore because you've already seen me customize that. And I don't want you to get bored. So let's change this one now. I'm going to use this image. Great. Perfect. And now we've got our 4 rows of 2 column layouts. Brilliant. And now we hit this section. In order to customize this section, what I am going to do is duplicate the hero section because it looks pretty much very similar to the one that we're going to work on now. So I'm going to grab the background section that holds the hero section and take a look at what I just did here. It's important that you learn how to use the breadcrumbs because if you notice, what I did is, okay, I want to duplicate the hero section. So I came over to the hero section. I clicked on any given element, this text element, just so that I could take a look at the, at which parent elements it has, or whose parent elements it's a child of. So this text element has a parent content box, which in turn has a parent background section, which is the one that we want to clone. And I think I just cloned it. Yes, I did. Okay, so let's grab this one and drag it all the way down to the very bottom of our page. Great, and let's stick it in there. Perfect. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the heading to be Evernote in action. Perfect. Let's grab the copy. Strange line break that they've got going on there. Great. Let's make this text element, I think I want to make it not just smaller, but I want to give it a max width. Perfect. Center that. Great. And now this is probably one of those things where I'm not going to say that this is a work in progress and that it's coming soon, but this is something that we're obviously taking a closer look at. And look, it's pretty nice what you can do here on Evernote site, right? You click on one of these drop down toggles and the image gets updated depending on which drop down you click on, which is pretty nifty. Still not something you can do natively with Thrive Architect yet, but for now, there's a couple of different ways you can try to achieve something similar. And one of them is probably going to break your mind because you're probably not expecting it. This is a little bit of a Tony hack. So you're going to insert a pricing table. A pricing table, Tony? Yes, you're going to insert a pricing table. And I want you to grab a pricing table that has one of these option pickers. And depending on which option picker people pick on, the content on the center screen is going to get updated, okay? So here, for example, first things first, let's get rid of this purple color background. Okay, that's better. And here, take a look at when you go to button group, when you go to pricing table and you jump into main options, here we've got a few different options that we can pick from, right? You've got basic, you've got premium, and you can add new instances. For example, let's rename basic to capture everything. Capture everything. And you can rename premium to stay organized. Stay organized. Great. And you could duplicate this and do one more. Let's do document everything. Document everything. Great. And now we can actually comment here and customize the styling a little bit more. So we don't want borders, for example. Let's do none. Here, let's do none. No borders. But I do want some breathing room, right? So I want, for example, maybe like 10 pixels of bottom margin for all of these different options. And yeah, that's good enough, I would say. And this button group item doesn't really have to be set to have a full width, okay? Because we want to prioritize being able to show what's inside each different content box. So let's just say that for this content box, when capture everything is enabled, we're going to drag in a new image. Let's just put it here. I'm going to get rid of all this content. And the image that we're going to be displaying here, I think is, let's just do that one for now. So let's get rid of all of this content that we don't need. I don't need this styled list, and I don't need the buy now button. And let's get rid of all of these huge paddings that we have in here. Perfect. And let's get rid of this bottom and top margin. And that's already starting to look pretty cool. So now when people click on capture everything, this image is going to show up. And when people click on stay organized, the content is going to change. Let me show it to you. So we've got our main default state, which is capture everything. But if we click on stay organized, boom, the content box gets updated. So pretty cool, right? I mean, it's kind of what Evernote is trying to get to accomplish. But I understand that there's a few more design elements that we would like to be able to do with Thrive Architect, and it's a work in progress. All right. Next up, I think this is the last section that we've got to work on, and it's an easy one. So let's insert a new background section. We're going to do, I think I don't need a background color for this one because we're going to be using a background image. So let's do background style. Let's do an image. And the image is going to be this one here. Great. Let's set it to cover. And let's just increase the height here of the section. It should be good enough. All right. And we need a heading, tame your work, organize your life. Actually, that sounds like the same heading as the one that we're using here in the hero section. Let's bring it all the way down. Again, make sure that you update your H tags. You don't want to publish a page that has 3 different H1 headings, okay? You have to be very careful about this. So let's make this white. We're going to make this one smaller. Let's make it like 64. And I think there's, a little bit of text. And it's the same text. That's probably not great for SEO. I'm surprised that Evernote is doing that. I mean, it's cool that they want to go after specific keywords, but outright duplicating content, I don't know. Maybe they got lazy. All right. And let's bring down the button. And the only thing that we're going to do with this button is change the background color to white. I think we'll have a working page, guys. Perfect. And let's make this white. And let's make the typography be, I think it's black. Yeah, it's black. Great. We want some breathing room here. So let's do 32. No, probably even 60 and 60. Excellent. Does that look? Yeah, that looks, it's actually bigger. This section is actually way taller. Let's come in here. Let's make this taller, taller, taller. Great. All right. Let's hit save and preview our work. Tame your work, organize your life. Remember everything and tackle any project with your notes, tasks, and schedule all in one place. Big call to action with really fancy animation. Looking good. Cool shot of our product. Nice looking. Nice little looking section here with some features and benefits. Image gallery with some logos. Probably want some breathing room in here. I would probably add a little bit of bottom padding. This section looks pretty cool. I would have this read more button linked to an actual blog post. But that's looking pretty nice. 2 column layouts. Looking decent. Evernote in action. Here we've got our pricing table hack. We could update all of these content boxes and display a different image, perhaps even some text. I forgot to get rid of this section. And this image. And then tame your work, organize your life. Pretty cool. Every single time I work on building and designing and copycatting a famous sales page that a big company out there is using, I end up smiling just out of how powerful Thrive Architect is. I mean, you have to admit it. It's pretty cool that one person alone can start up an online business today that can compete with what big whales out there are doing. Anyways, if you have any questions, I'll take care of those down in the comment section below. And yes, I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks for watching. Bye.